Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I'm a screenwriter. Film is a pretty sweet medium of art. However, before anything can make it to the big screen, it must start as a blueprint, text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, come join us as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories that we all love. I must warn you, though, there will be spoilers, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? Cool. Then let's get started. Hey, Drew Hellmich here. Welcome to episode number 6 of Screenplay Junkie. Got man Bryan here with me, and it's actually Bryan's first time being here in the real-time studio. How's it going?
Oh, I feel great.
How's it feel, man? How's it feel?
I love actually hearing myself sound a lot normal.
Yeah, man. You don't like propping Bryan's phone up on a box?
No longer sharing a microphone. We got separate mics, and we got them in the stew. It's going to sound great. Hopefully be the best episode so far.
Episode 6?
Yeah, hopefully your voice sounds a little better.
Yeah, right? Other than I sound like I'm in a cave underneath water, beneath like a dead corpse.
It wasn't that bad.
Wow.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, the first couple times it was kind of difficult, but the last time it was probably the best. So for moving on, it'll be way better.
We're going to savor the fact that you're here now, but we're going to probably go back to having you on the phone.
Yeah, we don't like you. Yeah, we don't like actually seeing you when we do this.
I might go tech wizard, though, and try to figure some stuff out, try to get more authentic recordings, but...
Unless we can actually figure out the Skype.
Yeah, very true. That's the next step.
So you may be wondering, why are we looking at Eight-Legged Freaks? What the hell is Eight-Legged Freaks?
Because David Arquette is my favorite actor.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Why?
Okay, he's actually not, but Scarlett Johansson's in this movie.
Yes,
so
she is.
I'm just going to go ahead and drop that bomb, and then I can just get away with saying that David Arquette was my favorite actor.
Right. I mean, I like this movie, and we had this on VHS. That was actually pretty crazy, actually thinking about this movie.
2002.
It's one of those movies where, like, for us three, we've seen it multiple times.
Right.
For some reason, I don't know. Like
so many times.
So many times.
Well, it's good. It's so bad, it's good.
Entertaining.
Right.
Like, visually entertaining.
Yeah. It's like it's like a total homage to like 50s like giant bug horror films. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a recent one. Now that I think about it, it's like Eight-Legged Freaks. I can go back. But
I can't think of one.
I mean, the Sci-Fi Channel pumps one out like probably every 4 months, but
that's the thing.
Those are just the lower. It's not mainstream. It's only the people that want to see those movies are going to find them.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I think reading this screenplay, actually, that's what really shouted like sci-fi like kind of movie for me, like Sci-Fi Channel type movie.
Just because of the cheesiness.
Yes.
The dialogue.
The title. Eight-Legged Freaks.
Or actually, Arac Attack.
Yeah.
Original
title, Arac Attack.
Arac Attack.
Which, I mean, we just found out like 30 minutes ago that David Arquette improvised the Eight-Legged Freaks line in the movie, and they renamed it. So is that why David Arquette is your favorite actor?
Because he's the best improvisational actor on the fucking planet.
And he just makes up titles.
That's why. You're damn right.
He goes, I'm sick and tired of these Eight-Legged Freaks.
No, dude, that's Samuel Jackson. I'm sick and tired of these snakes on this motherfucking plane or whatever. Whatever he said.
No, yeah, David Arquette, like, while he's on the antenna, he's like, get back, you eight-legged freaks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just like, light bulb.
Right. I don't know.
And then the director just got the biggest boner, and then they took a 30-minute break because he had to go crank down in his trailer.
And they had to redo all the posters. They printed out all their posters.
And then,
at Arac Attack.
And then they resumed shooting, and when it became what it was today, Eight-Legged Freaks.
So the script we read was dated as July of 2000, and it's written by Jesse Alexander, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name.
Just take a whirl.
Ellery Elkayem. El-Kayem?
It's good. It's close.
Ellery El-Kayem.
Hey,
maybe.
Let me tell you why you don't know how to pronounce his name, Drew, because he literally has done nothing else.
Yeah, I think I looked actually on his IMDb credits, and he did like Return to the House of the Living Dead, and I think we We actually saw that movie, and if you watch this, it's so bad. There's like a part where you can see a zombie jumping off a trampoline that makes him like fly into the air. You can see like the trampoline.
What are those called? Damn it!
It's like launch pads.
Launchpad. Yeah, sure. Launchpad.
Fortnite Launchpad. Well, that's what made me think of it.
We're gonna edit that out.
So yeah, like we said, July 2000, the 96-page screenplay.
Quick read, great read.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy.
I'm gonna go ahead right. I'm gonna just say I vouch for it, and I can totally see why this movie was made. And like a quick plug here too is that like one big executive producer, I guess, like funded this film, and he was sold on it because the director, this unknown guy, like made a short film with a giant spider, I think, attacking a woman that had grown like radioactively, really similar to the plot of this movie, right? And the executive producer saw that and just loved the idea so much. And I think Drew, you had said he was a part of Independence Day.
Yeah, he was the director and writer, like one of the writers of Independence Day and Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, the late 1990s version of Godzilla.
Oh, he has a really good beret in that, if you remember that one.
Broderick?
Yeah, he wears like
seen that one in a while.
a sexy ass like red beret.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this guy Roland Emmerich, I mean, these are some like really big.
Nobody looks cool in a beret. I just want to say that.
But I don't think I like.
Other than Jamie Heineman in MythBusters.
Oh my God, we're still on berets. Jamie Heineman, that guy, beret and mustache. He can bust anybody in any myth any day.
Has that guy ever gone like a day in his life without having that mustache? That's all I want to know.
Has he ever left his house without putting on sunscreen? Think about that.
I don't know where we left off.
All right, no, we'll just go right into that. We were talking about Roland Emmerich.
Oh, okay.
Back to the director.
I was just saying, yeah, Roland Emmerich. Like this guy is a part of a lot of big budget films, and in my opinion, I've never liked any of the movies he's done. Like, I'm not a big fan of Independence Day. I don't really like that Godzilla film with Matthew Broderick.
They're just blockbuster movies that are just made to
just to make money.
They're just made to make money.
Yeah,
and that's why it's interesting that he was on this, because this was, I mean, compared to the other two, Independence Day and Godzilla, this had a significantly lower budget than those two. So it's just hilarious that this guy was like, yeah, man, get me on this Eight-Legged Freaks Arac Attack project right now.
Just give me in. No, he said get me in on Arac Attack right now.
Yeah, exactly. He loved the alliterative like half rhyme title.
The story has charm to it. I mean, we'll get into it though. I think it has a lot of charm.
I think the story is appealing, definitely. I mean, I like the movie way better than the screenplay, but do we want to get those IMDb?
You got it.
Credit or not credit?
Info, please.
Line. All right, so Eight-Legged Freaks, right? 2002 release. To be exact, it was July 17th, 2002.
Oh, wow.
And I'll read the log line here. Venomous spiders get exposed to a noxious chemical that causes them to grow to monumental proportions. And that's it. It's just one sentence.
Perfect.
Really? I was
expecting a lot more. It sums it up, dude.
Very sweet to the point, you know.
So the actors in this movie, rather, my favorite male actor, David Arquette, is the lead. He plays Chris McCormick. And then we got Carrie Wooher, who plays the very hot Sheriff Samantha Parker. Then Scott Terra plays the nerd Mike Parker. And then, surprisingly, Scarlett Johansson is in this movie. And when I was a kid, I had absolutely no idea that was Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, exactly.
But she plays the daughter of the very hot sheriff, so I guess it makes sense, right?
And she's definitely
hot sheriff, hot daughter.
She's definitely had the best career out of anybody that was part of this project.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
by far.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then everybody else in the movie is pretty much a no-name.
Yeah.
What about Mikey?
No, I said him. Yeah.
Mike Terra.
His name's Scott.
Scott Terra.
Yeah,
he was in like Dickie Roberts.
Yeah, Dickie Roberts' child star.
What else? He was in something else. It doesn't matter, though.
Yeah, forget that kid.
Yeah, forget about you, Scott Terra. We know you're listening.
I looked at his IMDb credits, and he hasn't done anything since, like Dickie Roberts 2003 or whatever it was, 2003, and then he didn't do anything till, like, 2010, and now he's just not doing anything. So maybe he just didn't want to pursue an acting career, but...
Maybe he moved on. He moved on to bigger and better things, Drew. But anyways,
managing a Walgreens.
The budget for this movie was around $30 million estimated. In the USA, it grossed only $17.3 million, so it kind of flopped.
Yeah.
But worldwide, it made $45 million, so, you know, net gross $15 million. It's not terrible.
No, not bad at all.
But yeah, at least they went over, at least they broke.
They profited. Yeah, they profited.
Yeah.
But they probably were expecting, like, a lot higher returns, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Something interesting that we should start doing is reading the viewer reviews on IMDb. I've read a couple from the past movies we've had, and they're pretty funny. So we should look them up for alien freaks.
All right.
Check them out.
Yeah, Matt. Do you want to do the peep someone praising it, and I'll look for someone just shredding it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so I found one. The title of this, I'm pretty amazed. He only gave it a 4 out of 10. His title is Freaking Spiders Run Amok, and this is how he starts it off. With David Arquette starring, you would immediately think this movie to be stupid. Well, it is a stupid movie with a horrid script. But the FX, namely the eight-legged freaks, makes this flick a hoot to watch. That's all he said.
The FX? I mean, looking at it from now, watching the video clips that we watched earlier, the FX were kind of shitty.
But
yeah,
it's
looking back then,
2002,
man.
man.
I know.
2002. Here, I have a good quote here, and this one's a positive note, right? So they love this movie in a way. So the title of the review is "Call Me Crazy, but I loved it," and all they said was, "I actually saw this film on the same day I saw Austin Powers Goldmember, and I found this movie to be much more enjoyable by comparison."
No way.
And that's all they wrote. Goldmember, dude. I mean, that's pretty good. Like,
That's a good movie. I enjoy
so
it.
if they
Depending
thought,
on what comedy you're
Yeah.
looking for.
what do you guys
want? A sci-fi horror thriller comedy, or
What
do
do
you just want strictly smoking a pancake?
yeah, smoking a pancake, joint and a waffle,
Bunga de Blintz?
boggle a blitz, pipe and a crepe.
All right, guys, you ready to transition over and talk about the script?
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
ready to dive in.
First things first, man. I want to talk about like what is the setup to this film? What is like the plot that is underlying this? Like, how the fuck do a bunch of spiders start attacking a bunch of people? Bryan, tell me.
How do they just start attacking the people?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, I think it's a town in Nevada, a very small town that really no one knows about. And we got this man named Joshua. Seems to be a spider breeder. He's managed to mate and make these spiders.
Wait, he
bang,
made
of
it with
course.
spiders? Is that what you just said?
No, not him individually. He mates other spiders.
He's like a collector.
He's a spider mater.
A spider mater. Spider mater.
So he has he has a huge collection of pet spiders.
Right, and some nerdy kid following him around all the
Nerdy
time.
kid, Mikey. Yeah. He's real nerdy.
Yeah, it's a very weird relationship, like a 12-year-old boy and a 7-year-old man.
The mom spooked out about it. So
I love how
that's
the authors describe him too as like Mike went through puberty like really quick.
Yeah.
So he's just like hairy as fuck. I'm imagining him
Just like a little wolf man.
Just like, oh, insects are cool,
Like he's like a bug catcher, a Pokemon.
but the bullies at school give me wedgies.
I don't know what deodorant is yet. Because he just smells like shit, probably.
he probably he probably reeks. It's a stereotype that is just always true.
But so Mikey, his best friend, I'm assuming his best friend is Joshua. He knows no other child his age throughout this whole movie.
No, he has no other friend.
I mean, there's like no kids in this movie. Like
There are no
in
kids,
general.
really.
No, they're like the youngest guy is him, and then it's his sister who's 16. And then we get like her 18-year-old boyfriend, like some other 18-year-old characters, and that's about it.
That's it. Yeah.
So they have this relationship. They both love spiders. And it cuts to a scene where I forgot the Piggly Wiggly truck. The
Pigpen
No,
is his
Pigpen.
name.
Yeah.
That's the name of the driver of the truck.
He's just driving. He's like jamming to music, and I forgot a rabbit runs across the street.
So he
And
swerves.
He of course swerves, and he loses a mysterious bucket off the backside of the truck.
It was more.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bucket. It was like a barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it, of course had like the hazmat sticker on it.
Right.
Toxic waste.
Rolls into
Yeah,
the
like
creek,
biohazard, yeah.
rolls into a creek / pond, and you see like the fluids on the inside start emptying. And then later in the movie, we have Joshua picks up new crickets found in that area and starts feeding them to the arachnids, and he notices that they start getting bigger and bigger.
Oh,
and
they're growing at an exponential rate.
the story unfolds from there.
I want to go back to Pigpen really quick because I liked how he was listening to like what were they called again?
He's like, you will be confident when talking to women.
He's like, I will be confident when talking to woman.
yeah, they're like self-help tapes.
yeah, he was
exactly.
like, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't even
That was
music.
pretty funny.
It was pretty classic.
Yeah.
And then he just swerves because he doesn't want to hit that poor little bunny.
Right. But then, so back to these bugs. So we were talking about this earlier that why didn't any other creature within this pond get bigger?
That was a really good question that I thought about after I read it too.
Yeah, just if Joshua and Mike never showed up, like we could have just had a giant cricket movie, right?
Yeah.
I already thought of some movie titles. Guys.
That's already been done.
Sit back and relax. Here we go. Ready? What about Chirping for Blood?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Six-legged freaks. You know,
Ooh.
kind,
Oh, wow.
kind of a
Buck-legged
copycat.
six-legged,
I had to
yeah.
Google that. I did my homework. Crickets have 6 legs. I looked it up. Or, okay, ready? This is my best one. It's a limited release only in Australia. Bloody big cricks.
Oh my god.
Pretty good, right? I think it could 30 mil,
like
right?
it.
I mean, if they could make
Bloody
30 mil,
big crick.
if someone's willing to put 30 mil into 8-legged freaks, someone is willing to put 30 mil into bloody big cricks.
Cronkite.
I mean,
winged.
You can make a spin off of it.
You
of
could.
this
You
one.
could totally make a spin off that.
I'll write it, I'll star in it, and I'll direct it, but I will not pay for it.
So you're basically doing a whole Jackie Moon production.
Yeah, but someone's paying the bills, man. Not me.
Let's get David Arquette on it.
Executive producer David Arquette. Hey, man, David, if you're listening, let's get it done. So we're talking about how the other animals could have got bigger now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because they actually did say, they mentioned specifically that it was a horsefly that looked a little bigger.
And they said the crickets look bigger, too.
Yeah.
They said that.
They should have checked the pond for like fish.
So does
'cause
it-
they were like the immediate source.
The fish, yeah. So,
Probably
so does it mean that for something to get bigger, it has to eat these other organisms that have consumed the toxic waste?
None of this is even possible.
Exactly.
If it was, that'd be cool.
These
the-
spiders
yeah.
miraculously
Yeah,
grow
these are
by,
just, like, the
10
rules.
times in like days.
Yeah.
They grew... No, they grew like
They're so fast.
1,000 times their original
Yeah, especially
size
like
in days.
What's her name?
Yeah, he said in like 48 hours
Consuela?
or something. Huh?
Especially
Consuela, yeah.
Consuela is just
Consuela.
some mammoth.
The head honcho spider, Consuela.
Yeah. So all the main story beats in the screenplay compared to the film version are all like basically like pretty similar. I think one of the main things we all noticed about this script was the dialogue here, whether it was cringy or effective. So what do you want to do, guys? Just go through and kind of just highlight chronologically the things that we noticed. Yeah, you guys, you got anything else to say?
I'm down. I just want to first
As far as
go
just
over-
as far as like streamlining our basic our insight here.
Right. Just first, I want to throw out all the main characters here because there's 5, right? We got Chris McCormick, who's like the guy that owns the mine and like is working there.
Say like the protagonist in the story.
Right. Yeah, he's like the main character.
Yeah.
And then there's the nerdy kid Mike that we talked about already, and then Joshua,
Real
the old
nerdy.
guy that was his friend, but Joshua's dead because the
Right.
spiders already killed him because that's where they all started in his little weird shack where he was breeding them.
Yeah.
And then there's Sam, Mike's mom, who is the sheriff. And then there's Ashley, who is Mike's sister.
Yep.
And that's all of them.
Yeah, those are
majors.
definitely the,
The
main
major
characters.
ones,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the major ones that we pointed out with pretty cringy dialogue.
Yeah. So basically, what we're gonna do here, guys, is just go through the script and highlight just the cringy. I mean, I would say, I don't know if you guys agree, mainly cringy or at most, if all, cringy. Some effective. So yeah, let's just start with it. So the first one we got here is so basically this scene is Ashley. She's hanging out with her like boyfriend, and they're like motocross guys, 18 years old. They're real douchey, and Sam and Mike are in a police car, and Sam does not approve of Ashley hanging out with these guys. Basically, she pulls them over, and we get some really weird dialogue from both of the boys here. So who wants to go ahead and say what these guys say to Sam? All right, yeah, so actually what we're going to do is we're going to just read the script. So I'm going to be the narrator / Sam. Brian, you're going to be Larry. And Matt's going to be Brett.
Brett.
All right, so Sam exits the car and approaches. The bikers dismount.
There's something very sexy about an older woman in uniform.
Her 9mm gives me a stiffy.
I told you not to act like a kamikazes, especially with Ashley riding behind. That is unacceptable, Brett.
I could always ride her from behind.
Larry snickers. Sam steals her rage.
You just bought yourself a reckless.
Oh, yeah, so just a little ticket for saying that I was about to, like, you know, your 16-year-old daughter.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
And they're just like, they're just blatantly just sexually harassing this older woman. And she just, yeah, exactly. She only wants to, like, give them a ticket, and she continues to let them just hang out with their daughter.
And then her
Very
daughter gets in the
strange.
car, and she's like, oh, like, you better stop hanging out with them. Here's a taser.
Yeah, here's a taser all of a sudden.
It's good parenting, you know, Nevada.
Totally.
When in doubt, give him a taser.
Okay, cool. So at this point in the story, the mayor of the town, Wade, is on the radio talking smack about Chris, the main character's family, because Chris owns the mines and he won't sell, right? So Chris hears this and he goes to the trailer of Harlan, the guy who runs this little radio station, and he punches Wade in the face, and the cop, the sheriff, Sam, shows up, and her kids are in the car too, right? And after Sam, the sheriff, resolves the situation, she kind of is like watching and like checking out Chris as he walks away, and this is what her daughter says.
Yeah, so she says, yeah, Mom, like, maybe you're not gay after all. And Sam's like, what are you talking about? And Ashley's like, you can't take your eyes off his butt.
And it all starts there, fellas.
I mean, I thought this was just like, oh, like, yeah, she's just attracted to him. But nope, there's just like an ensemble of like butt jokes that follow this
Way
throughout.
too many.
Like,
Way too
it's
many.
like, it's absurd. Like, thank God this did not make like.
And it's so forced too. Like, it's not funny.
It's totally forced, totally.
Butt jokes and him not being able to find a pair of pants. That his butt.
I guess we should have said that like pretty much all the dialogue that we're about to share like did not make the final movie.
Yeah,
just
that's the best part.
Just because it was so awful. So now we get to share with you guys so that you can just see how just brutal this is.
Well, I think this next one did make it. Because it's so after Chris, right, like, that whole scene just happened where Sam, the sheriff, is, like, admiring his butt, and then he goes home, and his, like, aunt or something he lives with, Gladys,
Yeah,
is,
I think it's his aunt, yeah.
And she, like, he, like, walks in the door, and she immediately just starts, like, hiding the fact that she's smoking a skag, like, a cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
So she starts, like, hiding it, and he, like, catches her, obviously. And he's like, what the heck? I thought you were quitting. Like, I thought you were trying the patch. And she just, like, rolls up her sleeve, and there's, like, 9 nicotine patches on her arm.
I like this part.
It's like a scene from a cartoon. I mean, it was hilarious, but, like...
I can't remember if that made the movie, actually.
The nicotine patches, I don't think
But
so.
I like this part.
I knew she was a smoker, though.
I thought this was like genuine, like, comedy right
That was funny.
Yeah.
Just some old bag that's just been smoking her whole life. She knows she needs to quit. Probably has like lung cancer, but just like won't. And has nicotine patches on her arm while smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. And then the next...
She just needs a Juul. Just give her a Juul.
Oh my God, yes, give her a Juul. All right, so the next one we have is, I think this is the next day, and it's like Sam is getting ready. She's like in her bathroom, and like she's looking out the window or whatever, and it just so happens that Chris has to like drive by in his pickup, and they share like a moment of like eye contact somehow.
Yeah.
How?
Right? How? I drive by people's homes every day, and I can't just make eye contact with them like through their windows.
Through their window, yeah, of course.
And this
No
is
way.
and they describe her as being like in her robe, no makeup, messy hair, mouthful of toothpaste, and she just says to herself, "Work it, babe." Just like, why, dude? Like, what is going on here?
I mean, is that what like women say to themselves every day in the morning? That's what I want to know.
This is their like Pigpen like self-help tapes.
Yeah,
that they say to themselves.
Charlie and the Wire.
I mean, so wait, Charlie and the Wire. At this point,
Yeah, we're still like everything's low key. Like
Joshua's alive, and
Right.
he notices something's funky.
So this is perfect. Yeah.
He notices something's like not right in his little like breeding shop center, his little shack.
Yeah.
So he's like snooping around, right? And his parrot Charlie notices something's wrong too, and like
The parrot's more cognizant than Josh.
The parrot knows. I think it sees a spider like shuffling around, right?
Yeah.
So it like wants to like fly in or like attack or something. And it just screams like the funniest thing right before it like tries to attack or like find out what it was going for.
Me so horny. Me love you long time.
So he's obviously pissed at the parrot and he's yelling at it to shut up. When the parrot actually sees something moving, it sees the spider moving on the ground. So it screams,
Oh, Charlie's on the wire. Incoming.
and the parrot just like flies at the spider and just gets killed immediately, basically.
Yeah.
And then when Joshua goes to inspect it because he's like, Charlie, where are you? That's when he actually meets his demise as well.
Yeah.
Just poor Charlie, man. I mean, he was saying pretty funny stuff, but he got it pretty good.
He was my favorite character up to that point, for sure. He was like the most like aware out of everybody. So the next one we have is this is when the spiders are actually getting into the neighborhood, but nobody's aware of it yet. And the people who we meet in this particular scene are Hank and Emma, and this is actually in the film. Deputy Pete is So in this scene,
It's 6 in the morning.
Yeah, the guy's at like it's 6 in the morning and he's renovating his house and he's using like really loud power drills and his wife just comes down like hung over his shit like migraine and she's like, "What are you doing? Like it's 6 in the morning." And the guy's like, "Well, I'm trying to get the renovations done." and she just goes right into the kitchen and makes this drink, a hangover helper, not hamburger helper,
hangover helper.
Hangover helper. And what this consists of is they give you all the ingredients. So if you want to make it at home, egg, tobacco, lemon juice, and a shot of vodka. Like that, why did they need to include all that description
Why they
for
gotta
this
add
drink?
tobacco?
That's extreme. It was an extreme drink.
Oh, did I say tobacco? I meant Tabasco.
I was like, how much tobacco? Like, geez, like what kind are we talking? Are we talking pouches? We're talking poodles? We're talking long cut?
So she's making her little drink, and remember, this is 6 a.m, so she's already going for the booze, and she notices that their cat has not eaten yet.
Zeke, where's Zeke the cat?
Yeah, Zeke the cat. And in the script, it's like described as the cat sees some sort of like unseen prey in an opening in the drywall. So the cat runs into the drywall, and in the film, if you've seen it, it's like this very like cartoony scene where like the cat's like face it like plunges through the drywall, like it's basically like making like imprints, and also like the spider. And here they go a little darker, where like it's loud, and then once it completely stops, the character Hank like sticks his hand into an opening, or he
like punches through like all heroic. Like,
did he punch through it?
He punches through the drywall to try to save his cat, and all he pulls out, like you were about to say, Drew, is the cat's bloody tail.
Yeah.
Poor Zeke. The cat.
That'd be a sight to see. Yeah.
All right, so at this point, let's just highlight how stupid the townsfolk of this area are. Like, there's bugs everywhere, like fleeing, like in packs, like from the spiders, which they don't know yet because the spiders are all like underground and in the mines yet. But there's rats and there's other bugs like fleeing their houses in packs, which is like super odd.
Right.
So they're all going to the mall and stuff to buy, like rat killer and bug killer stuff, and Mike, right? Mike gets sent to the mall. Actually, I think he goes by himself.
He goes by himself
because he wants batteries for like his tape recorder. Because he's such a nerd, he's like playing like private investigator and like tape recording his thoughts like as he's investigating the spider incidents.
Yeah.
Nerd alert. But he's at the mall and he runs into Norman, the janitor at the mall, and Norman's this like stoner janitor.
Huge stoner, yeah.
And I think they describe him as being like in his like late teens or early 20s.
I think he was only like 18 or something.
Okay.
Prime stoner.
I'm looking at it. They don't even give him an age.
Right. Well, Norman sees Mike walking in, and Mike's 12 years old, let me remind you. And Norman immediately just starts trying to sell him weed. Like, he's like, you looking for that good kush, like, kid? Like, all that stuff. And all Mike says to him is like, my mom's the sheriff, right? And Norman just, like, ponders for a second. He's like, does she get high?
Such a dumb response.
Yeah,
And Mike just,
I liked it though. It was pretty
Mike doesn't even say anything. He just walks away.
Yeah, he just walks away.
I thought that part was funny.
It was so funny.
That was good.
So funny. Especially because Norman, he sticks around, and I guess we'll dip into him later, so.
Right. And then this is like perfect because the immediate next scene is Mike still in the mall. He goes into a specific store to buy batteries, and right as he walks inside, the clerk just goes, aisle 5. And Mike's just like, excuse me? Like, what? Like, he's like, the bug spray's on aisle 5. And
it's because everyone in town is going to buy the bug spray because, like, all these signs are coming up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's all these signs that all the spiders are coming, but everyone's too oblivious and no one sees it coming.
But that was funny just because the clerk, like, had noticed that all these people are coming in for it, so he just screamed it at him. And once Mike comes in, he's looking for something else, and he's like, oh, batteries. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're over there. And then immediately after Mike like leaves the frame, an old lady walks in. She's like, where's the bug spray? He's like, aisle 5.
Aisle 5. Don't forget it. Is that like a general thing? Is aisle 5 always the bug spray?
I don't know.
I don't have no idea. I'll have to fact check that.
It probably just sounded good.
Aisle 5. All right, so we just talked about Mike being at the mall, and he had that whole confrontation with the clerk and everyone buying the bug spray, right? Aisle 5, aisle 5. Well, after that scene, we get introduced to Chris again, who's in the mines digging for gold or searching for the gold, the mother lode that his dad claimed was there, right?
Yeah.
And all these rats, this like sea of rats just start pouring out of the mine because they're running away from the spiders, which Chris doesn't know, but when he sees the rats coming, he obviously runs away from them too.
Yeah.
And he makes it out, and the rats, they don't get all over him or whatever. He makes it out clean, and all they can think to say is, man, what am I, the Pied Piper?
Oh, that was like, oh my God. When I read that, I was just like, come on, man. Like,
It's brutal.
Like, I know, I mean, they had to have the intention of this being cheesy, but that was just awful.
That's
That
pretty
was
bad.
so bad.
It was removed. That was not in the movie.
Oh, thank God. I mean, and then it just, this even, like, further reinforces the stupidity of these characters, that they just have no clue what's going on. Or, like, they don't even suspect anything.
And the worst part about that, too, is that, like, literally right after this scene, the spiders are just wreaking havoc. They're in, like, full force. Watch out, everybody.
Because the next scene that we have is, and if you remember in the film, this was actually, in my opinion, one of, like, the best scenes in the film. This is when...
It was my favorite when we were kids.
Yeah, totally. So this is the starting of the motocross, like, jumping spider scene. So we start off with Brett and Ashley, and they're in Brett's, like, monster truck, and Brett's coming on a little too strong.
He's trying to wet the beak.
Yeah, he's coming on a little too strong on her, and Ashley's not really into it. And Brett says to her, "Come on, Ashley, Mommy's not around. You don't have to play the good girl. Let Daddy give you what you really want." And she's like, "Oh my God,
Cringe."
like, that's just so creepy, so freaking creepy." So yeah, he keeps, like, trying to, do whatever his agenda is to her, and she pushes him off, and then she finally tases him in the nuts, which is in the movie, and he falls out, and that's when he sees a jumping spider, like a couple jumping spiders, like on top of like a sand dune, and so he's just, like, freaking out, and he's, like, trying to get her to let him back into his monster truck, and she's like, nah, she just drives away. But the one piece of dialogue that he says to her to, like, try to persuade him to try to persuade her to open the door is, "Open the door, baby, I love you, I want to marry you, have my children, please."
Brutal. This guy's such a chotch. And I'm like, they end up killing him in the screenplay. Spoiler, like, sorry, everyone. If you saw the movie, you know he lives, but in the screenplay, he dies, and thank goodness.
Yeah, he's such a chotch. He's such a bad character.
I mean, you missed a little something, too. I want to say that, like, so right after he's trying to woo her in the car or whatever, she's like, "I don't want to lose my virginity in your truck." And he's like, "Why didn't you say so? Like, we can go out back. I got a blanket in the trunk," or whatever.
Yeah, that made
just
it.
Like, God, you douche.
That made it into the movie, though.
And then she tased his nuts right after that.
Yeah.
And then he pissed himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
How are those sneezes?
Yeah, how you doing over there,
I'm
man?
doing fine, yeah. Heart stopped for like a couple of seconds, woke back, and
Just jolt back? Yeah.
I'm back now.
All right, cool. Welcome back.
All right.
What's wrong? Like, are you stuffed up?
No, I'm just sneezing.
You keep sniffling that you stuffed up? Do you need, like, Mucinex?
No, I'm fine.
Because we got that. Oh, are we recording this too?
Yes. So now, once we have the whole chase scene with the motocrossers and the jumping spiders, everybody is dead except for Brett. He's being chased by multiple spiders, and he goes across a road, and we happen to run into Pigpen again, the truck driver, who is listening to those self-help tapes. And at this current stage, he's listening to one that is, it goes like this: "I will live every moment of my life as if it were my last." And he repeats it, and then all of a sudden, Brett, like, wheelies past his truck, and
He does like a jump. He like jumps
Yeah.
over, like kicks a spider in midair, does like a tail whip.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all the other spiders crash in a pig pen.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
"I will live every moment as my last," and then he blows up.
yeah,
Because he was carrying petroleum.
Yeah, Pigpen collides with these spiders, and then he dies.
For some reason, when spiders hit a petroleum truck, they explode.
I don't think he lived this moment as if it were his last.
It's a rough way to go, though.
He didn't even see it coming.
No, you had no idea.
All right, so at this point in the story, the spiders are kind of overrunning the town, but everyone's still kind of sleeping on it, right?
Yeah.
And Chris goes back to his auntie's place, Gladys, this old lady Gladys, right? And she's still smoking, still got the nicotine patches all over her arm.
Still trying to cover it up.
And she starts recommending that Chris go out with Sam, the sheriff of the town, because maybe she could see some kind of tension or some love interest between the two of them, right? And Gladys tells Chris, "You two should just sleep together and get it over with." And Chris is like, What are you talking about? And the old lady says,
I may be older than electricity, but I used to be a nice-looking piece of tail.
and Chris is just like grossed out. He's like, "Oh, that's disgusting, dude." And she's like,
Total disgusting.
I'm not kidding. I got more action when those chicks on VIP. So when I tell you Sam thinks your buddy's USDA choice...
And then he just cuts her off because he couldn't stand listening anymore. And thank God he did, because I couldn't stand talking like that anymore. USDA choice butt. Like,
United States. What?
That's his aunt. That's his like mom's sister or his dad's sister telling him that his butt is USDA choice.
That was so weird.
I think she wants to eat his ass.
Oh.
That part
disgusting.
was so freaking weird.
But they just keep coming with the butt jokes.
That was the second butt joke, I think.
They just keep coming,
and they just
with
kept
the butt
coming.
jokes. It's.
So the next one is when actually our characters start to realize what's going on. I mean, Mike has like a grasp. He's trying to explain to everybody what's going on, but
no one
nobody
wants to
believes
listen to him.
Right.
They're like, "Shut up, you delusional nerd."
So this is like
Nerd.
Ashley's in her room, like changing or something. Whatever. She's
Scarlett
doing
Johansson
something.
is in her room. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's whatever. She's hanging out in her room, and like her window's completely open, just letting all the bugs in, no screen. And this spider just crawls into her room and like just starts like spraying its goo like all over her,
It's
like
web.
getting her against
it's like
the
webbing her,
wall.
yeah.
goo,
It's
yeah.
getting her stuck against the wall.
And
stuff.
she just starts like screaming her head off. And so that's when Sam, Mike, and Chris just like bust through the door and
They have to fight the
help
spider.
her.
Yeah, they have to fight it.
But Mike's just like, oh, cool, like, and he says like this specific kind of
forgot what
spider
the
it's
spider
called.
was.
He's like a Serengeti spitter. Wow.
Yeah, it's just like what?
It's like, yo, your sister Scarlett Johansson's in serious danger.
And you're too busy pointing out the scientific name of this thing.
Yeah. So yeah, they eventually like they have this battle with this spider. They kill it, and then Chris is just like, I'm gonna need some new pants.
Right back to the butt joke. And of course, I'm surprised they didn't follow the line and be like, yeah, you'll need some new pants in that butt. Like something dumb.
Like they weren't
that.
like Sam wasn't like rushing to like help him with
Exactly.
this.
They actually. The authors probably were like so tempted to throw that in there, and they just they somehow held themselves back. They're like, no, we'll save it for the next page. All right, buckle up, everybody. We got more butt jokes. So
Buddle up.
the group is like fighting the spiders, and they're working their way towards the mall, I believe, at this point. And Sam and Chris are trying to make a plan of just like what to do, like where to go, and they decide on one place. And Chris is like, all right, I'm going to go over there. And Sam's just like, all right, I've got your butt. Wait, I mean your back. It's
Right
just
back
like,
again with the butt joke.
just
Keep
It's like-
continuing on with this.
you're in like the thick of the horror. There's giant spiders killing everyone in town, and she's just still fixated on his butt.
We're looking at about 20 pages where they gave for no butt jokes from the previous butt joke. I mean, like, well, we're due for a butt joke. We got to throw it in there.
I mean, I think just rattling off like just
Maybe
these quotes
that's why they
here
did
in
it.
a
Then.
row.
They just had to throw one randomly in because they hadn't done one for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, even just rattling off these quotes that we're noticing, we've done like 4 butt jokes in a row. Like 4 of these quotes that we've done in a row have been about
Straight butt jokes.
butts and
And there's
pants.
still more. And they still were just plugging this running gag about his butt.
Yeah, so now at this point of the story, the spiders have completely taken over the town. Everybody is aware of it. And all the survivors are fleeing to the mall because it's like has the best shelter. They think it's their best option to survive this catastrophe. And so everybody's like running up to the mall, like the mall's doors, you know, like wielding weapons of all sorts. And Norman just like comes outside and is just like, we're closed. Like, yeah, like, go away. No, not letting you in. And Sam just points a shotgun at his face and is like, we're coming in. Like, are you kidding me? Like, turn around. Like, look at this shit.
She points a gun at him, and he's like, I can smoke pot. Like, I have glaucoma. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
it's just like, there's a gun pointed at you and spiders, like, behind you. Open the damn door, Norman.
But I like that line. I thought that line was amazing where he's
It was
just like,
funny.
no, we're closed. No.
It was great.
Like, even though it was so stupid, but it was so funny.
It was cut from the movie because Stoner Norman was cut from the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Stoner Norman,
Like,
that was
Norman
funny.
exists, but he's just some guy, dopey guy who has like 4 pairs of glasses around
And lives in
neck.
his mom's basement.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
in a not cool way.
Yeah, he's like
No way.
30 or something. He's probably like 30, 40
Sure,
years old. Yeah, he was really boring.
Okay, so the group has made it into the mall. Norman let them in the door after saying they were closed. He let everybody inside, and they're trying to formulate a plan to contact help, right? Because the telephone lines were down from when Brett was running away from the spiders on his like motocross chase. And they're trying to get a signal, so they decide that 2 of the people should climb up to the top of the tower, the radio tower, and just like by like sheer height, they'll be able to gain a cell phone signal.
Yeah.
So Chris, obviously our main character, decides to, you know, volunteer himself to do it, to do this
He's the
heroic
hero.
act.
Yeah.
And before he leaves, he tells Sam, like, hey, while I'm gone, do you think you could grab me a pair of pants that fit? And of course, like she's like, yeah, sure, you know. And then they like kiss, and like he goes off to do this heroic act. And then his Ashley, the daughter, Scarlett Johansson, goes up to her mom and says, "You're not really going to get him bigger pants, are you?" And then Sam, the sheriff, is just like, "No way."
Just more butt pants jokes.
So they're just going to let him suffer in some tight jeans. Like,
And before that, Wade, before like Chris goes out the door, Wade's like, "Hey, lover boy, you've got a town to save." Like, so now they've like made up, apparently, like they pushed all of their like conflict aside.
right. It's absurd.
Now that Chris and Harlan are outside, we spend a little time with some characters that we've met along the way, like very briefly, and they all just drop these like one-liners that are like associated with their occupations or like what they've done throughout the script so far.
How they originally were.
So like for
introduced,
example, this minor character Floyd, who Matt, you made this interesting comparison with Floyd being, you know what, I'm just gonna let you explain this.
Floyd the Barber, yeah, because Floyd was the name of the barber in the Andy Griffith Show, which was a show from the 1950s and 1960s. And since this is a horror film that is an homage to horror films of that area, or of that era, I meant to say, yeah, thanks, Bryan.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like maybe something that the director threw in there, or the writer threw in there, just kind of as like an homage.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
Floyd,
guess, yeah.
Floyd, this old barber, he gets like a chainsaw, and he's facing these spiders, and he's just trying to intimidate them, and he just says to them, "Having a bad hair day? How about a little off the top?"
And then he proceeds to just mow one down.
Yeah, just chops
Yeah.
his legs off. It
Right.
says here.
But he doesn't last
Slices
that
his
long,
legs
too.
off.
Floyd,
No.
he gets it pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
And then we had another character, too. If you remember, our guy who was renovating his home, right, while his wife was making a hangover helper cocktail in the morning.
Yeah.
So his wife ends up getting killed, right in front of him by a spider. And he has two nail guns, one in his right hand, one in his left. And after seeing his wife get mobbed by spiders, he just says, "It's tool time." And he just starts shooting the nail guns at all of them. I think he gets killed pretty quickly, too, after that.
Just unbelievable dialogue.
It's
here.
tool time.
Like, I want to know how these writers are like sitting down. They're like, "Yo, I just got this sick idea for Hank. He's gonna be like, yo, it's tool time." Like, it's just like, oh my god, like what is going on right now?
Just noticing reading that where he says it's tool time, it's followed with Floyd getting KO'd, and then it cuts to Chris passing a store displaying Levi 501s, and
Yes.
he pauses and looks at him for a couple seconds.
The whole town's
to look at jeans.
The whole town's getting massacred, and he stops to look at jeans.
Like, why?
And then Sam's like, "Chris," and then of course he continues on. But yeah, like why?
Unbelievable. But then the next part too is hilarious, because then after he stops to look at the jeans, like Norman like brings up the fact that he's just got this bong shelter in the basement of the mall where they all can go
They
hide
all
or like
run
take
to
shelter.
hide, yeah.
Right.
So he takes them down there, and he's just got like weed growing everywhere, and from there they're able to like go through drywall, I think, to like get into the mine shaft again.
Yeah, it was like some sort of door or
because the
whatever.
spiders aren't in the mines because they're all out because it's nighttime. They're all hunting.
Yeah.
So they go back in the mine to try to escape the mall. And then they end up finding like the lair of the big bad spider, like the head spider Consuela.
Right. And at this point, when Norman leads everybody downstairs, they're going through the mine shaft, and like we said, they stumble upon Consuela's like main nest area. Norman gets killed, and he gets killed in like the most like nightmarish fashion out of anybody else in this script, as far as how they detail it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Norman just gets like killed with like apparently this Consuela can like flick like darts of like quills off her belly
Maybe
or
like
something.
poisonous
I
quills.
don't really even know like what that's all about.
It's a thing. I think spiders can do that.
But so yeah, Norman gets like some of these like just they just go right into his stomach, and all he says is "bummer."
Bummer,
Such
dude.
a stoner thing to say.
But I
just
want
down
to
and out.
I want to read this passage because of how he dies. So it goes: Consuela pierces Norman with her fangs, holding him tight. Babies flood of her back and onto the doper, chawing him to pieces like ravenous piranhas.
Wow. So little tarantula babies. Giant little tarantula babies.
Yeah.
Were just like eating him after he was killed instantly by a needle.
Nobody
Poisonous
else's
squirrels,
death
yeah.
in this script like gets that much description at all whatsoever. Or that
Poor
much
Norman.
like just that much like picture in your mind. That sounds awful.
That does sound awful.
Right. Okay, so at this point in the story, the characters kind of get out of the mine and they're escaping the big bad spider, the head honcho spider, and they kind of formulate a plan. And Chris is like, okay, like, I'll spare the audience, I'll spare you guys this like elaborate plan because it's really stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
But Chris is like, all right, I got to go do what I got to do. And Sam and Gladys are standing next to each other, and Sam looks at Gladys and says, "He has a cute butt, don't you think?" And then the old bitch Gladys is just like, "USDA choice."
It's just like, why are we bringing this back
Again?
Like, why are
Referencing
these
that
two
again.
characters like having this moment of like
It's so ridiculous.
like solidarity over like Chris's butt when there's so much more going on right now?
Maybe Chris's ass is what like carried them through. This traumatic experience, this horrible, horrible experience.
It's just the heart and soul of this, of this survival.
When they close their eyes at night, they just think of Chris's butt, and that's how they're able to sleep. Okay, so let's recap here. So this screenplay was 96 pages, right, guys?
96, yeah.
It takes us to page 90. Page 90, when our main character, Chris, finally says, "I hate spiders." He, like, sets a booby trap or something. He's just like, "I hate spiders."
Like it's just like
to no one. He's by himself, and he just says it.
there was like there was no purpose for it at all. Really, like there was nothing. Like nothing was going on to where he would like actually vocally have to say this. Like we just all assumed they all hated spiders.
Oh,
based on
yeah.
what was
He
going
just he just says it, and then they transition to this crazy like dirt bike scene with Sam, the sheriff, with the
Fire behind him. And he's running.
on. Yeah.
Like I said, we transition to this crazy scene with Sam, the sheriff, on this dirt bike, and she like has her daughter on the back of the bike, and they're escaping from a spider.
Yeah.
And they hit a dead end of the mine, so she does like a quick 180, this unbelievable maneuver on this dirt bike in this narrow mine shaft, and she just starts like playing chicken with a spider, basically, just like going full speed at it, pops a wheelie somehow, and then just screams "Bonsai" as she like stops the wheelie and crushes the spider and just like keeps driving forward.
Yeah, Sam
Wow.
goes full circle from when she pulled over Brett and Larry over at the beginning for them doing wheelies. So and then all of a sudden she does a wheelie.
She was just taking
First
mental.
try, of
she was
course.
taking mental practice that whole time when she was like pulling them over, and then she was just able to do it.
That was awful. Like because I was like, okay, why is this white woman from small town Arizona, Nevada, wherever this takes place, saying a Japanese term like bonsai?
Bonsai.
Like, it makes no sense at all whatsoever.
And then we have another unfitting, like another scene here where a character just says something that like doesn't fit them at all because they like kill or they think they've killed like the big bad spider or whatever, and
Yeah.
Gladys rolls up in Wade's like super nice Hummer like SUV or something, and she just like rolls up to all
Yeah,
of them.
with a
She's,
cigar
like,
in her mouth.
with a big old stogie in her mouth, and just says,
Big reveal,
Let's
yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
I could see the scene here coming up with like a huge, like 45-degree angle, like power drift.
she does a huge drift.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Where'd she get the stogie from?
That would have been amazing if Consuelo just took out that Humvee.
With another giant quill.
Well, it was ridiculous. I mean, they killed the big bad spider because, like, I mean, it was so stupid. What happened, Drew? They
Yeah, so I mean, in the movie they actually did how they tease you in the script where it's like they just blow it up,
They blew up the mine shaft.
but somehow Consuelo like survives this explosion, gets out, and like
Molts.
Yeah,
And, like,
molts.
molts
It
into,
just,
like-
it just like sheds its skin
it becomes bigger.
and then in the script it's just like and it's like it like heals itself, and then Chris just like stabs it in the stomach and then it dies. And it's just like
yeah. And that was
okay.
it.
Like why couldn't it have just died like in the explosion? That'd been way cooler. Like that was so anticlimactic. If you're gonna bring the spider back, have it be like a way cooler like death.
Yep.
And even after-
And do you guys remember what he says right
Oh,
after
I
he kills
remember
that
what he
spider?
says. I remember what he says.
Man, I really need some pants that fit.
Oh my god, dude! I wish that was the last like line in the film. Because that would have kicked it off to another note, like on another level.
But then they even hit you with some more random lines, and then the end question mark.
They did throw that in there.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
supposed to be another one soon.
Because,
Right.
because what do they call it? A burrow spider got a rabbit.
Right. It's supposed to be the rabbit from the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
of the film that caused the whole crash. Well, not the crash, but that the toxic waste fell into the water. It's supposed to be that same rabbit. Yeah, and then they had the audacity to write the end with a question mark at the end of this script, like there might be a sequel, guys. Haha. Like no, sorry, there isn't.
way.
Jeez, what was that rabbit doing the whole time where all this town was just getting massacred by spiders? Because in this universe, I could just see him like running away from Elmer Fudd or something. Because
Yeah.
This whole universe where this movie takes place is just absolutely ridiculous. It's upside down. It's bonkers.
This screenplay was insane. So this was actually my second time reading it. The first time I read it, I like had a headache like trying to read this because I was just really angry that like just reading this being like, how did this get made? Like, what the hell? Like, are you serious, you guys? Like, what producer was like reading this and was like, oh yeah, this is sick. Like, I'm gonna make this.
I guess all it takes is just one man with deep pockets. That's really all
true.
it takes.
I guess.
Very true.
I mean, because I'll give it to him. The idea is fun and it's cool. But this script, the dialogue is so atrocious. They got lucky that they kept all the story beats into the movie. They rewrote probably 80 to 90, I would say 90% of the dialogue into the actual film.
So much of it. They're just lucky that David Arquette is just such an improvisational all-star.
I mean, he just, like we said earlier, he renamed the movie from Arac Attack to Eight-Legged Freaks.
Beast mode.
All right, so I know we kind of touched on it there, but what did you guys think about the script overall?
Matt, you can share your thoughts.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think I can see why it got made. Like, the one guy who was the big executive producer on this, I can see why he fell in love with it. I mean, like, this idea of recreating these kind of old monster movies where, they're so bad they're good. That's kind of how they are. And that's what this movie is, and it knows what it is. And sure, the script, as we went through and told you, is, like, so bad. And, like, all that was there, but, like, at least the producer knew to get rid of those shitty lines.
Exactly.
And the movie turned out to be pretty decent.
All
like,
shitty lines.
Yeah.
To be honest, I could probably watch it any day of the week.
Oh, yeah. I like the movie, yeah.
Yeah, movie overall, movie's great. It's great entertainment, regardless of what they're saying. It's always just like action, not action-packed, but it's just like there's comedic values, there's action in it that I always like. Sci-fi, which I always love sci-fi films. That's just me.
Yeah.
But the screenplay, under dog shit. I didn't really like it at all. I found myself falling asleep more than... That was just because I was tired of reading it, but I got through it, and I understood most of it. But yeah, the movie for this one is better than the screenplay.
Yeah, I mean, the screenplay is totally goofy. The plot itself, the story is... I like it. I think it's fun. It's definitely marketable, I think, just because it's about giant spiders taking over a town. But I will say, if you want to read a screenplay on how to not write dialogue, then read this one. You'll learn a lot from it. No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I just want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. So if you like our content, please be sure to follow all of our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes. Also, feel free to give us a rating and leave us comments, or send us an email at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. In episode 007, we won't be taking a look at a James Bond script. However, we will be discussing the screenplay of a parody that certainly took inspiration from the Bond films. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.